What's up, guys? Welcome to Patron VOD review number 3. This time we're going to be reviewing Abnerd 666. He actually submitted his VOD a while ago. It's taking a minute to get to his VOD. I actually feel a little bad about it, but I've been learning a lot of stuff in the process. I actually redid a bunch of your VODs a couple of times just because I wasn't comfortable at the beginning with the end result, but I think I finally got in the workflow of things, and here we go. Let's get to it. This VOD, we're going to be reviewing a Lucio gameplay. It's worth noting that he plays on console and not on PC. So some of the gameplay might be a little bit different, but should be some cool analysis. Let's get to it, guys. All right, let's see what you got for us, Abnerd. Very fancy skating. I like it. So far, your team looks like it's in a good position to be defending up top. You got a Mei that can wall him off. You get a Reinhardt and a Zarya. That should be very tanky with you and Soldier up there too. Should be a very hard to get through that choke point. Let's go back a little bit here. And it's funny because I was just thinking I was just going to mention that. It's cool that you have all of your team over here. It makes the choke really strong, but it's also worth noting that you cannot lose sight of the lower door or the main door to the sides as well. I think that you were looking over to the sides over here, and that's good, but nobody was paying attention to this bottom door over here. And honestly, as Lucio, you're in a very good position to look at it. Maybe even hang up a little bit. As Anna, you can do it as well. Your healers are good for it, but hang out on the stairs and just keep an eye on this so that you can make the call. I don't know if you play with voice comms on the Xbox or not, but if you do, it's usually a good call being, hey, they're coming in the lower level, turn around because they're engaging in the point. And that's a usually common strategy nowadays to actually avoid this choke point at all costs, just because most teams do exactly what you guys are doing, protecting it with everybody up there. So just rushing through the bottom is a common strategy. Let's see what happens here. They're already invading the point, and your Reinhardt is not really contesting. It gives them the advantage in the fact that they can go towards the back of the point and start engaging from there, and the high ground doesn't matter as much anymore. Seems like you guys are able to do a fine job of disposing of them. Good job. That works out even though they kind of caught you guys off guard. And again, you can be a little further back on the stairs just in case that happens again. You have a visual on that. Since Reinhardt definitely cannot do that, your Sari has to be up there. Zen and you are actually in the best position to be behind there. Tracers on. Seems like they did it again. They went through the bottom part. It's a good thing that their diva is so focused on you guys up there, and she's not really helping protect the Reinhardt, because this is allowing you guys to put a lot of pressure on him. And diva has a hard time killing you, to be honest. You're kind of squishy, and you can heal yourself. You can speed boost out of her range. Working out. Alright, now they're engaging top. Nice kills. Got a couple headshots in there. If it hasn't worked out for them through the bottom, I don't think it's gonna work out for them through the top. You guys are very well protected up there. It is worth noting that even though speed boost is really nice, On defense, and especially in these points, you do want to keep it on the healing song for as much as possible. Since you guys are not really trying to engage or get aggressive on the team here, you might as well keep it on the healing until they get aggressive. It's unfortunate they got a pick on your Ryan there initially. Now we're able to snowball it from there on. Good taxi over there. Try to see if you can get as many people as fast as possible to the point. Seems like you guys have a chance of contesting this. Now, to the contrary of what I just said before, now I think is the time for you to keep it on the speed boost song. Now is the time where you guys are actually engaging, and the slower you move while engaging, the worse it is for you, because they're already in position and you guys are the ones who have to come in and contest. Things, for example, like the Reinhardt earth shattering your enemy team can sometimes be avoided by the speed boost. If you're able to get everyone behind the payload or behind him and stuff and overwhelm him, that can work out a lot better for you. So I think there's just a small mismanagement of your songs and timing there, and maybe your cooldown too. That shatter is unfortunate. It takes you out so soon from the battle, but it seems like your team might be doing fine. Small recovery of the point. Tracer still being a nuisance. It's a good thing you're back there with the soldier. Try to keep him healed while he deals with her. Good stuff. Seems like you guys should have this in the bag. That's done by the diva there. Sneaky Lucio. Yeah, at this point it's a good thing you're keeping in the healing song. You just want to make your team as resilient as possible here. You're not trying to go anywhere. All right, well done. Just a couple of vital points there. Make sure that as Lucio, you're scouting around all of the locations, because you don't have to be like Reinhardt right at the choke point keeping people from coming in, or Soldier that has to focus fire immediately whoever comes to that choke point. You have a little more leeway in what you're doing in the meantime. So one of the activities that Lucio I think is really good at is just scouting around, seeing where people are. You can get to the low ground and up to the high ground relatively easy with your skates. So you have a very mobile character, and your speed boost allows you to get to places safely, just in case you see anything that's out of the ordinary. But being able to be the first respondent and the person who calls for example, the enemy team coming bottom, can really make a difference. Also, just watch your songs, and when you choose to use them, remember that the speed boost usually is best used for engagements. And whenever your team has to engage, you usually want to have that cooldown available to you. Your healing is not sometimes as useful in those moments, since the speed is just so much more impactful there. But if you're trying to hold a position and you're not really trying to engage with your team, and you can use the extra resilience that your song provides, against spam and things like that, the healing might be a good choice. Regardless though, even if you're in the healing song, try to resist the urge of using your amp up, even if you see a little bit of damage. Try to let your Ana and your Zen, or your Mercy usually, cover a lot of this type of healing. Even though with Zen can be a little trickier, since he cannot top off a hero that well either. But usually when you have an Ana and a Mercy, you want to let them be the ones who do the bulk of the healing, and you kind of lean back a little bit and save that cooldown for when you really need it, for when shit hits the fan, or you need that speed boost to close the gap or an engagement. But yeah, let's go over to the second part of our VOD, the attack. All right, seems like we're approaching from the top. Let's stop it right here. I'm usually never a really big fan of fighting on choke points. Of course, you gotta peek over and see what they have, but usually my preferred style, and this is also is up to your teammates, and sometimes a little communication can help with these things. But for example, here, the first thing that you do is you swap to your healing song. Maybe let me choose a different color. It's too much yellow. You swap to your healing song right away, which means that or it leads me to think that your train of thought is that you have to outlast this choke point and you need to help your tanks heal through it. While usually my preferred approach, on the other hand, is to just go straight up. Rather than like going healing song and trying to outlast, you should try to penetrate right away as fast as possible. If you can do your speed boost, things for example like your Genji right here, which he got aggressive right away, which is what I like to do. Maybe would have had a little more chance. Instead of your tanks being here, like your Zarya is way back here and your D.Va is way back here, meaning that anything that gets shot through this choke point is gonna hit them a bunch and gain them a lot of full charge, and that's basically where the enemy team wants to have you. But let's see how that ends up playing out. Your Genji died. He went a little too soon without your tanks being able to back him up. Your D.Va loses the mech right there just because she cannot hold the spam, and everybody else has to back up. So we lost 2 guys and didn't really get through the choke point. Well, I think it's much better is if everyone goes through, and if everyone dies, it's okay, but then you all come back together rather than like 4 of you just wait for the rest of them. Here you go. Here you do it. That's super awesome. You did it by yourself. Your team didn't really follow up, but that's okay. You got them off the high ground, and look at that. Your soldier was able to kill. Your D.Va got the Zarya, and they got a couple picks. But now you got them disrupted. Now they're off the point. They don't have the high ground. You guys can approach this a lot easier on the next round too. Also, training your team to know that every time they're about to engage, you're going to speed boost. Even if you don't have that much communication with them, eventually, over the course of the game, they'll start kind of getting that sense, and they'll be able to approach with you as well. So we're just waiting for everyone to gather up. Here's your D.Va, here's your tanks. Genji's going in again. He's doing the right thing, I believe. He's just putting the pressure on. You have to go in through that choke point, not necessarily stand there. We got a pick. Oh, nice kill. So at this point, you're staying a little bit too much on the choke point. Your team has moved up already, and you're still behind there with your Ana. And that allows their D.Va to take advantage of it and kill you there. It's worthwhile noting that once you break through that choke point and you gain the high ground, you should try to stick with your team as much as possible. Seems like you guys are able to get a couple picks even while you're dead. And you're walking to the point with the Reinhardt alone, which is great for you. Oh, the Lucio's there with him. Not much of a problem, though. Okay, that's where the team comes back. Okay, preemptive Lucio ult. I think this helps secure the point. It's worth doing it. Gives the enemy team no chance to gain a random kill and get you. I think it's a good usage of it. Might as well. Looks like you guys should have this point here. Very well done. But yeah, my only observation was was that hang around the choke a little less. Use your speed boost to help your team cut through that choke point as fast as possible. Kind of overwhelm the enemy team. Make him lose high ground. Even if you guys don't necessarily win the fight, you might at least win the space right there. Alright, we're all regrouping right here. I think right here, it was worth noting this. Again, you do it. And I think from here on, this is kind of a constant in your thing. But again, you're using your amp up for your healing in a place where you might not exactly need the healing. Like your tank seems to be doing fine over here, and your team behind seems to be doing relatively fine too. Also, you kind of want to let your Ana do the bulk of the healing and right at this point where you're at, the enemy team is forming up right here around the corner. This is a really good chance for your team to keep up the aggression. You guys already won the battle, and you guys are usually ahead in ults because you got all those kills. So you should be ready to really engage him. And I'm more of a fan right here of you to use your speed boost, engage them real fast with the rest of your tanks before they get organized. Because I think that right now it's really only the Reinhardt that's kind of like messing with you guys, right? Oh, all right, let's delete that and let's see what happens. So right here, the enemy team is able to get an engage on you guys rather than you guys get an engage on the enemy team. And that's what I meant with get a little bit of aggressive. Instead of waiting for the defending team to come to you, you should come to them. And your speed boost is one of the best tools to make that happen. Right here, for example, would be a great time to use your speed boost to engage them, as your tank is already there, but the rest of your team has to close the gap still. Or for example, right there, what you just did, you got super hyper aggressive on the Reinhardt. Let's progress to that right here. You're right on the Reinhardt's enemy face, and I think that is okay. As Lucio, you can do that. You're quite squishy, and being able to boop him off really can distract him or make the people already behind him lose their cover. But right here, again with the healing song. Again, Lucio is not particularly a main healer. You usually are carrying him because of the speed boost. The speed boost is so awesome for engages and is the reason why Lucio can get away with doing things like being right there where you're at. You're right in front of two enemy tanks. Most healers would never do that. Anna, definitely not. Mercy, she can fly away. Sometimes she finds herself in those situations, but she has a getaway mechanic, so she's usually fine. But Lucio can because of the speed boost. You can speed boost, get in here real quick, do your boop, and then get out real quick before they can do any major damage to you. Just something to keep in mind, because I see you using your healing song a little more than maybe you should. Seems like the battle's breaking out. Nice pick on the soldier. You keep using your amped for the healing rather than the speed. For example, in that position, the speed might have been more worthwhile for your diva, since it allows her to get out of the mech real quick. You're not gonna keep her alive once she's that low. So the speed boost might get mini diva a little safer to cover than the actual healing might do anything for her. Right here, you're in a great position. Before we go any further, you're in a great position as Lucio. You guys just capped the point. You have all of your cooldowns available. You're already on the speed. That's great. You have your ultimate ready to go, and you have your amp up super ready to go. Right now, we have your diva right here. Let me get rid of this. You have your diva, you have your Anna, and your Zarya. And you see this Reinhardt alone right here? That is so juicy. You guys have the perfect engagement chance right here. You can speed up, allow these three guys to rush the Reinhardt with you as well. And if anything goes wrong, if by some reason the enemy team happens to be all over there, you have this guy right here, your contingency measure in case they try to do some crazy stuff against you. So this is the perfect opportunity. And let's see what actual happens in the game. Kept the point, and we're just kind of dilly-dallying around it, not doing too much, kind of just staring at the enemy team, being very passive. And here we go. We just see a little bit of damage right here, and we immediately speed boost. Healing boost. And honestly, your Anna right here can take care of that so easily. And instead, we can still have you using all of your engagement tools. Still, we can have a clear shot at them. Even from this position, we can still do it. As you can see, though, the enemy team, the defending team, is already getting prepared for something that's going on. They have retreated. The Reinhardt that was here a second ago realized that he was way out of position. He was like, uh-oh, let me retreat to the cover of my team. So now you guys don't have that advantage over them. Go back. Still waiting for engaging here. Now the Genji initiates the engage. You back him up as soon as you hear the soldier. That's good. But right there, that Reinhardt that we couldn't kill. Oh, actually, he kills you. Engagement comes back to haunt you. He chooses the healers as the target. Very well done by him. But that's a good example of why losing the aggression can cost you later. A clear pick of the Reinhardt would have maybe prevented him from ever shattering or shattering from a position where he wasn't comfortable. Right there, he had a chance to go all the way into the corner, have a huge vantage point as you guys try to approach, and he got your entire team under the cart. Right here, you're in speed boost. That's fine. Unfortunately, Sari uses the graviton. One of the things to note on attack is that when you're going through chokes, the defending team, if they're playing right, they're gonna try to space out their ultimates, and every time you go through the point, they're either gonna shatter you, they're gonna graviton you, they're gonna use soldier ult maybe with nano boost. They're gonna use something that, as you're falling through that tiny space, they can use a huge ability to kind of stop you right there on your tracks. So it's the same principle as the initial choke point from point A. You don't want to really stand too long in it. You actually want to engage them as soon as possible with your speed boost, hopefully cutting through the choke point and splurging out all the way in their backline so that they don't have that clear-cut position to hurt you. I think in this case, we're being a little too passive, and as a Lucio player, you're actually in a great position to influence the pace of the battle. If you see a lot of teams that want to go pro or teams that are taking this very seriously, a lot of them ask for a Lucio shot caller. Not just a Lucio player, but they want a Lucio shot caller. This is simply because it doesn't mean that all Lucio players should be the shot callers. That still depends on the player and stuff. But Lucio as a hero, especially if you play him a lot, is in a really good position to make calls. Let's go back here a little bit, because this is a rookie mistake I see over here. And I've noticed this throughout your entire game, but you tend to focus a lot on what's in front of you, and you don't look to your sides or up a lot. And obviously you're playing with a controller, so it might be a little harder to do than with a mouse, as it requires you to take some of your thumb off of certain vital buttons. But regardless, right here, you see the diva all the way up, and you have a chance actually. You could, if you had noticed that it had gone up, you could have hit it over here. You could have come back to the bridge and maybe hit it around the corner. So keep in mind that, going back to the point that I was trying to make earlier about Lucio being in a great position to make calls, is because as Lucio, you can choose when your team engages with speed boost. You can incentivize your team to engage at certain times, and you're the one in control of that. So usually you're the one who wants to be leading your team. Usually also because you don't have to be up in the back line of the enemy team. You're usually around the center of your team, so you're the best poised to make calls and to see where the enemy team is located. Sometimes the Lucio player is the best player to be able to call out people out of position. For example, that Reinhardt that we talked about that was out of position. That could have been you initiating that engagement. And while Lucios don't have the abilities of like a Genji or a McCree of just outright taking out the enemy team and giving the advantage of the team by doing that, you can give the advantage of a team by being able to close gaps, incentivizing engagements, and leading the pace of the battle. You're very integral part of that process. I believe that we're close to the end of the game. I think that you guys are stuck with kind of like the same problem, just stuck underneath the choke point, not being able to penetrate too much. And this is not entirely your fault, but you can contribute to that by what we just said, using your speed boost, incentivizing engagements, and being really mindful when you use your amp up. You want to use it usually when your team is kind of ready to go. Not a second before, not a second later. But as soon as you see the hero out of position, your team able to capitalize, that's when you want to be using that amp up. Those are my tips for this one. As always, let me know what you guys think of the analysis. I'd love to hear if you guys think I'm doing a good job, if I'm pointing out the right stuff. If I missed anything, write it down in the comments. I'd love to hear you guys' opinions. Thank you so much.